I have got a sickness for old vintage wood grain clocks. So I think in saying that old and vintage technically go together, but, you know, whatever. That's what you get for unscripted videos. This is a Simpsons-Sears. Yes, that's right. Back when it used to be called Simpsons-Sears. That was... oh, I don't know. This thing looks like it was probably from the 1970s. I've been doing a little bit of research online. I have not been able to figure out who exactly made it, but it reminds me of a Sanyo product. Especially of the 1970s. So we've got that. I wonder if that's a date code, if that means it was made in 1964. It's entirely possible. There's our sort of CSA certification sticker for a radio. So there we can see all of our information. I definitely do believe that might be what that is. You know, made either the 12th week of 1964. It certainly can't be the 64th week of 1912 because it doesn't make any sense. I don't think it would have been made in 1953. That seems awfully new style for 1953. And I don't think it's either December of 1964 or 12th week of 1964. If that's even a date, I'm not quite sure on that. But if that's a date, cool. Makes it one of the oldest pieces of equipment that I actually still own. Alright, there's your radio knob. It does seem to have the expanded band, which would probably put it to be a little bit newer than 1964. But I don't know much about these things. There's your volume knob. There's your AM and FM switch on the side. On this side, we've got our on for the radio, music for the alarm, and alarm for the alarm. The alarm is cool. I'll have to demonstrate that in a minute. Wake set, which is for the alarm, and time set, and of course run. And on the back, we have an infinitely variable, or, well, it goes from there all the way around to there. So it's pretty much an infinitely variable dimmer control, which is fairly nice. Not something you'll see on a lot of cheap radios, even of this time period. You certainly will not find it on one today. And other than that, I think that it is time, make sure that switch is off, to plug it in and have a demonstration. It does a really interesting thing when it turns on. I'm not quite sure why it does that. Let's show that off again. I'll unplug it. You'll either see another interesting thing that you don't see often. I think it's got a supercapacitor in it. I'm not quite sure because you can see it's still on. So let's go ahead and plug it back in again. I'm not quite sure what 10:02 is supposed to mean. Seems like a random time to set itself to. We'll go ahead and, oops, time set. Let's flip that switch over to time set. It is what? 9:02 right now. Let me go ahead and turn that dimmer switch down. You can see it in operation. It gets really bright. Like initially when I first bought it, I was a little concerned because it was on its lowest setting like this, and I thought, you know, that's probably not a good sign, but hey, it's plenty bright enough. And let me demonstrate the radio for you. You'll see nothing comes on. Oh, well, there's our problem. The volume knob is so dirty that the radio doesn't even do anything. I think this is the worst condition I've ever picked one of these clock radios up in terms of radio and volume knobs and things. I think I'm going to have to get a new pot for this because I don't think there is a hope in the world that anything can possibly save the volume knob. That volume potentiometer. I think it's just toast. I hope it's not anything else. Alright, so let's turn that off. And then I'll set the alarm and we'll have a listen to the alarm. The alarm, I think you'll agree, sounds real interesting. Okay, so the alarm is on, and I think UXW Bill actually did a video of a similar vintage, I believe, Panasonic clock radio that had the same sounding alarm. So maybe this is a Panasonic unit, I'm not quite sure. But it just really strikes me as being a Sanyo product. But either way, in 2 minutes, we'll get to hear exactly what the alarm sounds like. And I think you'll agree with me that it is interesting. Isn't that odd? I'm not quite sure exactly how to describe that. You know, it could be a bird, but that sounds like a very odd and distressed bird to me. So, I don't know. It's a chirping noise. It's a weird weird alarm sound. But it will certainly wake you up because it's loud enough for that. Alright, so let's turn the alarm off completely. And I think that's pretty much going to conclude the video because there's not much else that I can say about it. It's just a generic clock from the 70s or maybe even the 60s if that really is a date. Which it would be really neat if it actually is from the 60s. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Until then. Look at how long it takes for that to turn off. It's still on. It's still got enough power. Then when I turn the radio on, it'll screw up though. Nope, it's still going. It is actually still on, believe it or not. I don't know how long it's been. Probably quite a bit. It is still on. Most people would probably classify it as off, but I can still see the light there, so. Alright, I'd say it's fully off now.